Hello everyone and welcome to another Team Top Deck testing video. This is Zerto with you here today. And as you can see, I've made a few more adjustments to our Is It Blitz deck from yesterday. So today I've dropped the Niv Mizzets, meaning that this is now 12 rare, but you know, I technically have the Blood Crypt and Watery Grave. I'm starting to think they might be hurting us more than helping because we so rarely want to back half Dispersal in this meta. There's not really that much we'd be okay with bouncing for only a turn to get them to discard as opposed to just continuing to dig through our deck. So honestly, you don't need them. I'll keep trying them so you won't have to. And what I replaced them with is I cut additionally one land and two Mystical Disputes, and I added another Negate and 4 Terramanders. This card isn't that great on its own, but I have it in here for 2 reasons. One is I want some flood insurance, which is what the Niv Mizzet was for, and something for, you know, slightly grindier games, a nice big threat. And this fills that role. It is a 5/5 flyer, which is pretty big game. It's not exactly grindy, but if our opponent is just removing us and 1-for-1ing us the entire time, then we should be able to pull a little ahead with our Crackling Drakes and with just our card filtering, and even just find a turn they don't have anything going on, and that's when we win. We also have a lower land count. Once again, we have 21 lands now. I also cut an island as the land. And if we get in a hit with a 5/5, that's good. And also it gives us more early game plays. Because just playing a 1-mana 1/1, while not great, if it eventually becomes a 5/5 flyer, maybe it's done 4 damage before that, and then it hits for the last 5, and that's perfectly fine. Or having it be a blue, slow-burning bolt. Because of its upside, that is reasonable. I wouldn't just play a flying man, but we can even just pay the, at some point, 4 mana even, it's not like we don't do that with other threats, to have it grow. So I think it's worth giving it a shot. We're still on 2 Cathartic, 2 Discovery. I just think being able to filter away the dead draws with Cathartic is too valuable, and being able to filter into good draws with Discovery Dispersal is also quite nice. I think the best card draw in our deck is Thrill of Possibility. Although, now that I'm playing a higher number of flyers, you're going to see some shenanigans before the game even. And I'm going to go ahead and try out Winged Words again, because I think that card is very, very good, as long as we can have it turned on early. In fact, I think this might be the best build of the deck for Winged Words yet. So let's see. Oh, I just passed it. Yeah, we're gonna try 2. I'm gonna drop a Thrill of Possibility, because this will be a better card draw spell for us just by default. And I suppose, I say the best, but that's opt. I'll just fly by the seat of my pants here and try and figure out what we like the most. Going 2 on each of our 2-mana draw spells is probably going to be the best bang for our buck here. I think we're going to end up cutting the Discovery Dispersal for Winged Words because they fill a similar role, but I'm not sure yet, so let's give this a try. And we will play with our Is It Delver? I should change the name of the deck. Alright, so first we're playing against Tibalt? Alright, Yorion. It's kind of what we're hoping we can prey on just by being fast. So, there we go. We have an Opt, Crackling Drake, Thrill, lands, Winged Words. So here you can see this was a Thrill, it'd be better early, but if we can get this online it's going to be great, so we'll keep these. Go ahead and break down that pillar. Remember, when you're bored, you can interact with the environments here. Doesn't do anything, but it's a thing you can do. Go. Birth of Miletus. They're finding a plains. So they'll be making their next few land drops. We're gonna go Sprite Dragon this turn. Start getting in there. Sprite Dragon and Terramander are our best threats against them, just because they can't be Elspeth Conquersed. They can very much be Oath of Kayad, which isn't great for us. Alright, so here... Not sure if I want to hold open Opt plus Negate. No, yes, I think I do. Gonna hold up Opt plus Negate or Opt plus Thrill of Possibility. Our opponent will know we have a counter here, but won't be too bad for us. Go. Still getting to use our mana, and this can even make them think that we don't have anything else. Somewhat tempted to take the Discovery here, but I think I can do better than that. I think I can find an actual threat. There we go, and the perfect card to pitch, because we will keep the option available to us while filtering for more cards. Excellent. That is exactly what we wanted. Sprite Dragon, hold up Negate. It's going to be a pretty powerful play here. Then, actually, no, it's not. It's not specifically because our opponent has Yorion to blink their Oath. That is unfortunate. So what I could do here is Cathartic, pitch, Sprite Dragon, Fabled, but I kind of do want the land. I think I'm gonna let them, because they won't play the Yorion otherwise, and the Yorion's gonna keep getting more dangerous for us as time goes on. I'm also not gonna deploy the Winged Words here, because maybe our opponent tries to build up their board pre-Yorion a little more. And if they do that, as they are doing, we get to grow ourselves out of range of the Oath of Kayad. So here next turn we're going to be too big for them to deal with that way. How big is this right now? 4. Not worth it. We will lead on finding a... We're going to lead on Winged Words. Find a mountain. And then before I Cathartic, or even say a Discovery here, I'm going to see if I can opt for a Negate. Opting for an opt isn't terrible, but if I can get a Negate here, I'd much rather have that for any kind of a big play they might have next turn. So Cathartic, I can still draw lands, and I'd rather leave the Dispersal open to bounce their flyer next turn, so I guess we're finally going to see a position where I want to cast it. There we go, and attack them with 5. Worth noting, we're also growing our Drake as we're doing this, so at some point we will potentially be able to one-shot them with the Maximize combo. Oh, there comes Wrath. I think it'll set off a lot of alarm bells with them if I play and don't go for the 7 damage, but I'm not sure that's a bad thing. Because I have the potential to kill them next turn off of the Maximized Velocity. This is a rare instance where I might want more information before deciding. If the double strike is on top, that doesn't do anything, so... No, yeah, I'm just gonna play the Drake here. take my card. Nice. Play a Scryland. And now, next turn, I think we have it no matter what goes down. As will be 7, 8. Yep. There we go. Hope I didn't count my mana wrong. I did not. Crackling Drake. Maximize. We'll discard our Cathartic. We're not going to want it. Raking Claws. Surprise! 20 power with haste in disguise. And there we have it. We've taken down Yorion by getting a little cheeky with our 1-elves. Shouldn't take too long for us to get out of silver. I tend to stagnate in gold, not still in silver. Fortunately, I changed our daily rewards, trying to chase after that 750 reward, and got to something I'm not sure I'm ever going to do. Probably do it off camera, trying to draft a set that I have no idea how to draft. Alright, let's see. Opponent goes first. No idea what they are, but we have an Opt, a Blitz, Flame Sweep, and a Drake. We also have a Scryland, which makes me a lot more comfortable keeping this, especially on the draw. Alright, so we're gonna want some interaction here in the form of negates, I believe. That's what that temple tends to tell me. I already have a Winged Words. I don't want another one until I have a threat. I'm gonna try and nail down exactly what we want for our pseudo cantrip suite. Alright, so I think here I'm going to Fabled Passage Terramander. Next turn, if it lives, I get 2 Winged Words and Opt. So yeah, I like that. I'll be finding an island with this, but no need to let them know that yet. Now, we could just be getting our Terramander killed, but if so, it's not the end of the world. We can still just full price Winged Words. Alright. This isn't going to change whether or not they put a land into play. At least I really hope it doesn't, or I'm missing something big. So, when this doesn't change anything our opponent might do, we'll just go ahead and crack it. Up to 4 lands. Play land. Start getting some card draw. Alright, that negate could come in handy later, because I'm pretty sure we're up against Reclamation here. Yeah, that negate, I mean, not card draw. So no matter what happens, we're firing off our Opt in their end step. We want to fill up the grave as quickly as we can for this Terramander. Ooh, I hope this isn't the turn they Reclamation us. Also trying to fill it up for our Blitz, in case of a shark. Right, we are completely fine with the Euro. In fact, we're going to wait for them to draw and get more information themselves, because we would very much like them to counter our Opt, because it would mean our negate gets to go through. And negate is going to be a much more important card in this kind of a matchup. While we do want a 4th land eventually, I'm not sure we want it right now. How many cards are in their graveyard? 4, they're not quite there yet. I'll take the Blood Crypt, because it lets me use my Dispersal, or Discover Dispersal this turn, as opposed to the Opt. Or even deploy the Crackling Drake, which I don't think we're going to do. I think we might actually just play it tapped, though. Playing it tapped does give us a little bit more bluff room, which is something we want. Alright, we don't need another blue source, or land in general. There we go, another Blitz. That's good. We'll play a tap land. It is giving our opponent a bit more information. But right now, we're not too concerned about that. If this is the deck we believe it is, then they don't really have any reason not to kill the Pteramander because we have one more tap land. Whereas cracking the Fabled Passage, if we'd, you know, went and grabbed something, they would know that, hey, we're not a third color or something. Which now they might suspect, but, you know, wrongly so. Alright, so I am going to, let's see, 1, 2, 3. How much does this currently cost? 5. Alright. So I will Thrill of Possibility, discarding Flame Sweep. It's not exactly a card we want, and we're not concerned about them, say, what's it called? Expansion Explosioning our Pteramander. We do want to hold up counter magic to protect it, but honestly, that's not something we're going to have the luxury of doing. Oh. I didn't think they'd take the opportunity there. Alright, that does confirm my suspicions, though. And we do need to get a threat down, but that doesn't mean we have to do it right now. So here I'm going to Discovery. So put the card in the yard we're going to need. Alright, so I want both of those, honestly. And I'd rather have the negate now, because I'm going to play the temple later. I definitely did that wrong. I wanted to sustain the scry, but in doing so I forgot that I wouldn't be able to anyway. Because now I don't get to just play a Drake, hold open, negate next turn. So that's entirely on me. We should have been able to do that next turn. I didn't think the line entirely through, and now we're getting punished. Although if this sticks anyway, it's not going to matter too much, because we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And they copy our negate. Now we're just going to deploy a Crackling Drake and kind of hope for the best here, because we're in such a bad position that we just need to end the game as quickly as we can. And we do have a second one, otherwise I wouldn't be really willing to risk our only threat. There's a chance they just make a huge shark. Wasn't expecting a Fry. Definitely was not expecting Fry. Don't need that. I wonder what they're main decking that for, because I can't imagine it's for us. I guess it kills Yorion. I guess it kills Teferi. Yeah, that's probably what it is it kills Teferi, it kills Narset, kills Yorion, kills Kenrith. Right, here we're going to get to blitz their Uro, which should be a fairly decent play. So they don't have a big payoff, I don't think. Yeah, it's not worth waiting and letting them get the extra card draw. I'm just going to deal with this now. And end of their turn, I'm going to thrill away this shock. They don't have enough to do Uro again. Alright, so that's perfect for us. It means that we're safe. Because otherwise, if I were them, I'd have made a huge shark there floating the mana. Right, there we go. We're going to Cathartic. No. Here we are just going to deploy a Crackling Drake holding up negate. They might have some counters, but honestly, that is to be expected. As long as they don't have a counter for our counter, landing this Drake should be able to close out the game before too long. just given their lack of tapping out at all. Okay, so here we're going to play the Fabled Passage. Playing this will just help us represent... Ooh. Right now I think we're dead. Thassa's intervention does not bode well. Personally, I don't know why they do it in their end step for a lot of value, but I suppose they could have been afraid of something. Grabbing an island, and I'm going to hope... should have entered full control mode there. I was going to try and bluff that we might have access to Mystical Dispute, but if we just let that go, there's no way they think we have Mystical Dispute, so that was kind of a wasted opportunity. If they have an expansion explosion, we are just actually factually dead. Yep, I saw the brief stop. They have something. I'm going to make them show it to us because I have seen players who will just do this and then wait a while to see if you concede. Some people will. They also might be making a shark. Alright. If only they had decked themselves, that would have been funny. No problem there. I made a pretty big misplay there, otherwise having the Drake down a turn sooner and having it probably survive would have been pretty big there. Would have changed up what I was able to do. So opponent goes first. They have no companion. We have a hand of a reasonable splattering of different interaction, threats, and dig. So I'm going to keep. I just wish we had an untapped land at all. Basic island doesn't tell us anything, but I want to have access to both blue and red next turn. I'm going to go ahead and say that we have better cards than shock in either case, and we would rather have a land. Blue, white, not Yorion. Alright, I'm going to play a Terramander here, and play out our Fabled Passage, passing the turn. This will be fetching a mountain, but I don't want them to know what our prominent color is quite yet, which they will discover after we then shock in the steam vents. If we are to, you know, shock in the vents. Now that they've ended their turn and have no way of knowing, or making use of the information, at the moment we will put in the mountain. I don't feel the need to opt yet, so I'm just going to hold open the negate, not shock in the steam vents, play the temple out. See what we can find. Don't want an island. What we want is something that can loot away this flame sweep, I believe. Gonna let them have their thirst for meaning. There's no way they don't have cards more threatening than that in there. Nice little brainstorm impersonation there for 3 mana. Jeskai. This may be a Narset. Teferi. Well, that forces our hand because we won't be able to use this negate otherwise. Alright. So here I could deploy the Crackling Drake, but I don't think it's very worth it. It'd just be deploying a second threat into a potential Wrath. So what I'm going to do is play out this Winged Words. Hit them for another 1. This is representing the gate, but honestly we're probably just going to opt at end of turn, and depending on what's going on, we might even shock them. No reason to opt first. We would like to hit a fairy drag, or not fairy dragon, sprite dragon here. So they probably have a negate. Could be an essence scatter. Not looking for more lands. There we go, there's sprite dragon. I would definitely rather have the sprite dragon countered. And I'm going to winged words here. Okay, so they 100% don't have an essence scatter. They could have a negate. Could also just be the land they got. They don't have a mystical dispute. It's not the end of the world if this gets negated and they get to use their mana efficiently. Alright, so as long as the sprite dragon survives back till our turn. Oof. Oh wait, no, that... Alright. If we had a swamp in the deck, this would be much easier, but as we do not much we can do except find a mountain here, because we're going to need to cast a lot of red spells. So we can get them to discard their entire hand here, I believe, if they choose to block our sprite dragon. Rather do it on their turn, I think. Unless, of course, they choose to block this. Opponent not taking the bait. So I will choose to shock them here, deal a little bit of damage. Put a stop on their upkeep. And here... debating if I want to discovery or not. I don't, in case they choose to try and use a removal spell. Or a counter spell, as opposed to just, you know, discarding for the blitz. Also leaves us open to the possibility of drawing a black source and bouncing the Dream Trawler. Now we are completely okay with the Dream Trawler just getting tapped here. It obviously isn't our ideal situation. We'd much rather be able to actually kill it. But it does leave us the option of being able to tap it down again next turn, essentially having it removed for 2 turns. Thirst for Meaning is fine. All of this making us very happy that Dream Trawler is not going to be able to hit us. More lands discarded. Now then, let's see. Ignoring the possibility that they might have a removal spell they're holding on to because they think we have negate. They would just do that in our turn anyway, so I'm going to shock our opponent so that we will have them dead to the double strike spell. Here we're going to opt. It isn't worth the mystical dispute, I don't believe. Here we're going to discovery. Once again, just looking for a double strike to end this game. Sprite Dragon, no. negate we won't be able to hold up next turn anyway. So I don't think we're able to keep it either. Let's go in for 7 then. So this is worth noting, we are losing our Sprite Dragon. We're also digging for the haste spell because we'll have another turn. Or another opportunity to use that for game. Oops. Alright, if they cast a spell, they're moving into combat. This is unfortunate. I'd have very much liked to do this before they got to go to attackers. Or before they got to go into their draw step, I mean. Alright, luckily we are not punished here. Here we are going to pre-combat Crackling Drake, because either way, we either kill them right now by top decking our haste enabler, or we just hold up the Blitz of the Thunder Raptor again. There we go. Swing in for 7. Or 8. I was looking at the counters, not the power. Last zone ability resolves. End turn. Upkeep, we will once again attempt to blitz to kill their Dream Trawler. Well, I suppose more to tap their Dream Trawler than to kill it. Pretty sure we're in a very bad spot here, though. But as long as we can continue to stop the Dream Trawler from gaining them life, we do have a chance. Ironically though, even if they kill our Crackling Drake, I believe the haste spell will still kill them because of this Sprite Dragon. Yep, it would. So that is still a card we are looking to draw here. Alright, hopefully they don't draw anything big enough to kill our Drake. And they have. Alright, so card draw, anything to pump the dragon. And this is the moment that we lost the game. We are going to go ahead and kill the Narset. We do technically still have a shot at this, so I won't be conceding right away. But this is going to become a lot more difficult now. Our best draw there would have been, obviously, the haste spell. Alright. Pass turn. Take 6, they gain 6, back up to 10. Oof, gain 7. Here we want to draw Cathartic Reunion. Opt will have to do. I believe there are sequences here that result in us winning. I just don't think they're very likely. They do not involve a Fabled Passage. They also didn't involve a Flame Sweep, but let's see. nor do they involve doing anything other than as much damage to the opponent as physically possible. So the Teferi gets to live. Swinging at it isn't going to win us the game, and by the time they could bounce another card off of it, we'd be dead anyway. I suppose this does give them the ability to wrath at instant speed, but I don't think that's our current problem. Oof, another Teferi. So as you can see, wouldn't have much mattered. But I was thinking wrath at instant speed, given they've already discarded, I believe, 2 of them. They could deal with our Drake. Was it only 1? One, two, there we go. Alright. Cathartic is no longer a live draw. Well, here we have Terramander as a 5/5 to wish it could trade with that Dream Trawler, but I imagine the Dream Trawler is going to be growing pretty soon. Now, if we actually do get to trade with the Dream Trawler, I think Answering Teferi is our best bet at victory now.
This is hardly my worst.
Shouldn't have played that land. It means that I can't play the draw 2 next turn, and I think I still have some of those left. Oh, I still have all of those left. That land was a huge mistake there. I went on autopilot like I do when I'm losing sometimes, and it is not good. Should play twice as tight from behind as you would from ahead. Uh-oh. I think the air is already fixed. Oh, either way, we are dead. Draw? Why was this a draw? This should have been a loss. That's weird. Oh well. We will take those. Not gonna complain about rank not degrading, I suppose. That's weird. Network error right at the end there? And it didn't do anything except make a draw instead of a loss. That's rife for abuse by the less scrupulous of us. So, I do have the Scryland, which makes me want to keep this a lot more. I was originally thinking that was a Steam Vents, but being able to use it to dig for a threat on 1, Discovery on 2 if we don't need to leave up mana, which I don't think we're going to in this matchup. I'll keep this hand. We also have Flame Sweep, I should mention, against lurrus, which traditionally is pretty good. A Shock on the play with a Flame Sweep, I don't think we're going to want that. Alright, they Shock. Gutter Bones. That is fun. So here, I'm not too worried about the Witch's Oven, so I'm just going to play out the Terramander. This is the kind of matchup where I think Negate is for exactly 1 card, and if you don't have it on exactly the right turn, you're kind of screwed. But if you play holding it up the entire game for that right turn, you're just going to be SOL anyway. Alright, so here, I'm just going to hit them. My plan is to just Flame Sweep them. I don't want to exactly pull the trigger on it yet, but once they have the priest down, it's kind of something you've got to do. I'm waiting, giving them a little time to give them the most opportunity to make mistakes. And if they attack, I just won't even pull the trigger, at least on the priest itself. And I don't mind giving them the opportunity to get this back here. But I want to keep my life total high, so I'll Flame Sweep now. They have enough cards in hand that being able to buy that back and play it as a essentially 3 mana 2/2, or 2/1, isn't the end of the world to me. Getting them both back for free this turn, however, not as great. So, I do want my Sprite Dragon out before I start casting spells. So even though this means I'm definitely missing this turn's land drop, and I could have potentially double spelled, that double spell didn't exactly do anything for me, and was in fact kind of counterproductive. So I'll just play the Sprite Dragon this turn, pass it on over, see what the damage is. I imagine we'll be losing our Terramanda this turn to their Priest. I'm rather hoping we draw another Flame Sweep. Kinda wish we had that shock. But hey. That's a strange one. I wonder what they're doing now. I was thinking they'd use Whisper Squad's ability to get another one out, sacrifice one of those, and the Gutter Bones, then buy back the Gutter Bones with the mana from Priest and have the same board before as they, or after as they do before. Well, minus the Gutter Bones actually being in play. Alright. Here, I think we're seeing the Whisper Squad. Nope. Alright, our best draw, bar none, would have been the Flame Sweep right there. There we go, Winged Words. Oof. Grab another mountain. Here we're just going to do as much damage to them as quickly as possible before we lose the Sprite Dragon next turn, and hope to draw the Flame Sweep soon. So we're definitely not doing too well here. I got a little greedy with the Flame Sweep, trying to use it to protect my creatures. Which it did for a turn, but as you can see, not entirely worth it. Here even, Flame Sweep's still gonna be not the greatest, given our opponent will get some, I believe, lifelinking flyers? Oh no, just lifelinkers. It's not as bad as if they flew, but it's still not great. Unless, of course, they sacrifice those. Oh, no, that's good. Flame Sweep is super live. We'll be trying to find it off of the Thrill of Possibility. Unless, of course, we draw a Cathartic Reunion. No, Cathartic Reunion wouldn't be a better play here. Because if we... No, I suppose it would. We would just have to discard the negate. I was thinking of discarding both lands. Alright, Whisper Squad is the best thing they could have played out of their grave for us. What else you got, opponent? And I think one thing I've seen is we definitely want more Winged Words in the deck, even if it's not great right now. I think it helps us start doing our thing and refueling against more controlling decks really well. And you see here, if this wasn't aggressive, we'd very much be in a good position from here, being able to go Terramanda, Winged Words, be super ahead on cards. But as this is an aggressive deck with lurrus in it, we wouldn't even be ahead on the cards. So here I'm going to find an island out of our deck. Every percentage point matters, and we're not losing life, so we may as well use the passage. Last island. Alright, Flame Sweep or bust. We are discarding the island. It is the card we need least. think if we do draw the flame sweep, we're super, super likely to win though. What have you got, opponent? Oof. Well, let's see how long it would have taken us to draw it if we would have even next turn. The answer is definitely no, but... How many cards were there? 5? Alright, time to concede. Alright, and then we're going to head into our last game here. After this, it'll be back to your regularly scheduled grab bags of games instead of just nothing but Is It Blitz. I was just trying to get a new list hammered out for all of you, and I think this is the one I'd be playing with some mod or modifications to the cantrip suite. Probably one more winged word. I think I'd cut down on Discovery Dispersal, drop the lands, or off-color lands. I don't think Dream Trawler is very common anymore in the new companion meta. This is definitely a mulligan, by the way. Against Yorion, Flame Sweep doesn't do it. Multiple threats are nice, but we'd want cheaper ones. Okay, not exactly what I meant, but we are going to keep... Yeah, we can't afford to go too much lower here. I'm going to get rid of the Maximize. It is the least likely to be needed anytime soon. Well, better lucky than good. Now, if we can get one more of those, preferably in Scryland form, or just all on tap lands and, you know, never need to scry. If you're lucky enough, the scry lands are just a worst. Let's see. Are just a worse shock lands in every way. Instead of only in most. So that negate there is to keep our threat alive and keep winged words as live as possible. Once again, same reasoning here. This is just basically a cantrip that doesn't help our Terramander any. Worth noting, Flame Sweep not completely dead. Our opponent could have the Heliod spell. Heliod's Blessing, or what was it? Omen of the Sun. The 2 life and 2 1/1s. Ooh, there goes our Crackling Drake. They got anything to bring back? Nope, that's fine. Alright, hit them for another one. It's done more damage to them than a turn 1 Lightning Bolt would have. I bet how our opponent feels silly now. Play a Temple, let's see what we get. Winged Words, see? Did nothing except let me know what I want to do next turn. If you're lucky enough, you don't even need to scry. There's the Yorion, dealing with our other Crackling Drake. It's fine, we expected this. Here we will just Winged Words. And... Taking 2 damage changes the Yorion clock. It's cost 5, I believe. I'm going to deploy the Sprite Dragon because we still have a backup threat after it. And if our opponent wraths, it isn't the end of the world. This Terramander can grow next turn, which is very worth noting because growing the Terramander, hitting them for 5 or forcing the chump from the Yorion. No blocks. I'm pretty sure this means they have a Wrath, but I don't really mind. Yep. There we go, Sprite Dragon, hit them for 2. I'll keep that in hand in case of Cathartic or Thrill of Possibility, actually. I think we can do a little better than, you know, 2 damage for 5 mana. There's the Elspeth Conquers. This is the reason we didn't play out the Drake, by the way. Is that they would be getting it back next turn anyway. And the last Crackling Drake has considerably more value than the first 2. To us, at least. Oof, to Fairy. Yep, it'll resolve. The Flame Sweep did nothing, they'd just bounce the Sprite Dragon if they were opposed to it. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna Thrill of Possibility, discarding Flame Sweep here. Rather hold the Crackling Drake for a... Have we shuffled since then? I think we did. We have not. Oof, I thought we had. Alright. So in that case, maybe I don't wait for the Exceller Drake. Yeah, I think we just play out the Drake here. Draw a card. See what we can set up. Because of the Steam Vents, I'm just going to pass turn. Wonder what the green is for. I was thinking just Growth Spiral, but I don't know what else they might have with it. That is a dangerous thing not to know. Alright, let's see. This is very, very dangerous because of the potential of yet another Wrath. But I think it is our best bet. So we're going to Cathartic here. Blatantly disregarding the possibility of counter magic. These lands are dead anyway. Grow our dragons. We are playing with fire here if we do that. So let's see. I think we send everything at them. We're definitely attacking with all. Yes, everything at our opponent here. I did forget I won't be able to shock in combat because of the Teferi. And that was what I'd wanted to do. Ooh. Alright, that was very bad for us. Alright. There we go, make a oh, I thought that was one less. Alright, no need to make it a 5/5 yet. That's fun. Imagine here we're going to see the Yorion blink the Teferi because it is a free +1 on him. They can later use the Teferi to bounce the Yorion, draw a card, play the Yorion, blink out the Teferi, and use that as a pseudo Howling Mine effect. I suppose it's more like a, what was that old card that was, I think it was 6 mana with buyback to draw a card? Yeah, 1 blue, 5 for buyback, draw a card is all it did. Might have been 4, at which point it's almost exactly the same. But yep, here we see the Teferi blink. Technically we could shock here, but there's no value to it.
This isn't a fight you can win.
In case of Exceller Drake, we'll leave that in play, but not use it yet. I don't think we're quite to the point where our only shot is accelerating the Drake. We're fine with this. much more okay with the Teferi bouncing our Terramander than we are with it bouncing the Yorion. Because that would just allow our opponent to sit back and do nothing for the rest of time. Alright, I see. The green is for exactly what I should have thought the green was for. The best blue-green card in Standard. Maybe the exception of Growth Spiral, but that's a highly contentious idea. I only say that because it accelerates fires and reclamation. And those decks don't really need the help. So here I can kill the Teferi, but I don't feel the need to. I don't feel killing the Teferi with the shock gets us any closer to winning right now.
I've got it.
Whew. And the Cavalier Uro combo. Combo being at, I believe, 5. Yep. Reveals 5 cards, so if you flip over an Uro, you have you only need one more card to bring it back. Especially if you just choose not to put a land in. I'm pretty sure that's the end of the game. We needed that Terramander to buy us a little bit of time here. And our opponent is not biting. They are aware of our Drake potential. So here I'm going to play out another tap land because I think our best bet now is that they just get a little greedy one turn. And we can use it to Sprite Dragon and deploy a lot of pressure
Oh, I've done the hero
with chained cantrips into double strike. I don't think it's likely that it happens and we win, but I think it is our best shot of winning, which should point out exactly how far behind I believe we are right now. How big would our Crackling Drake be? Oof. Drake wouldn't even be remotely close to killing them. Up. Here we go. Huh. And we didn't even get a single one. Our opponent probably also has a Wrath here, but so be it. Flame Sweep. Should play the island so I could protect it. Or, from, 3 mana removal. Let's fetch. Last land. Flame Sweep. Shock them. And hit them for 4 before conceding. I suppose I'll allow our opponent to get in their damage and potential daily quests. Alright, and there you have it. That was our newest build of our budget Is It Blitz deck. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked the video. It'll really help support the channel and hopefully help us grow. Alright, so here I'm going to give you a little bit of my thought process regarding the changing this deck up afterwards. I like to build in this mode a lot more. I think the Dispute was really good, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's see. I still like the Maximize. It also works with the Terramander now, so it's better than before. The Raking Claws is also better, given that a 5/5 is better than a 3/2, as it was with the Phoenix build. Also like our removal suite still. Alright, so I think I just want to go to 3. I don't think we want 4. And I think it fills the role of Discovery Dispersal quite well. Does it fill the role? of Cathartic better? Cathartic, I think, is our worst card draw, but I still think we want some of them. No. I think we're finally past the Cathartic stage, and we'd rather have more Thriller possibility. That said, even if I keep the Discovery Dispersals, which I do believe I am going to drop the Blood Crypt and the Watery Grave. I don't think they're worth it even kind of just for the free value of the back end of a Discovery Dispersal, because the cost of having them deal 2 damage to you is a lot more real than that occasionally being possible. I've had that come up a lot, where I've had the Discovery Dispersal maybe being out like 2 or 3 times over the course of these videos, and my own playing outside of that. So, pretty sure that's not where we want to be. I'm going to do a quick look through all of the other stuff we might be able to use. I should include not collected. Filter out the black. We don't have anything black we want in here. I really wish we had something like a dive down in this standard. That's kind of what the negates are here to mimic, is a dive down from the old versions. Now, I do believe there's a version of this deck that can just play the Augur of Bolas and become way more controlling. I also believe we might want to cut the third Flame Sweep, but I just like it a little too much now. If we cut it, I think it would become another shock in this deck. Just to keep ourselves efficient against aggro and keep ourselves pumping all of our creatures. Could also see Anticipate over Discovery Dispersal, but no. No, I can't see that now that I think about it. Actually, I can. Just because of the instant speed, working a little better with, say, Negate and Mystical Dispute. But the flip side of that is that it doesn't work as well with our Crackling Drake, and it doesn't work as well with our Pteramander, so I don't think I'm going to make that swap. It is just an interesting thing I've noticed. Thrill a possibility with Anticipate? No, I think being able to actually discard the bad cards and fuel them back up is a little too valuable. I do kind of want the third Thrill a possibility, though. Or the fourth, I should say. But I think this is where we're at for now. I'll have to play a little bit more, figure that out. Figure out what I might want to replace it with. Could even be one of the Pteramanders. We don't have to just play 4 of each of our threats. Sprite Dragon, Crackling Drake I will, just because of how powerful they are. It could be the Maximize. I could just be overrating the olden days, because back then you did have the other Drake as well to potentially maximize, which is a lot more damage than, say, a Pteramander. Or a Sprite Dragon, which already even has haste. And the discard when you don't have the Phoenix is also not as good. So it is possible. I just like the out-of-nowhere combo potential. It is possible we play some Essence Scatters in the future. Right now, I don't think it's right. I think Mystical Dispute fills that role pretty well. And if I were to drop this, I think I'd want another Negate, potentially. Maybe I should just drop the Mystical Dispute. I'm going to play a few more games with it. Try and see exactly what we want and what we don't want it against. This card would be cheeky, but I don't think it's good. If it were 1 mana and you dropped the Amass, I'd play it. But as it stands... If this was spell or ability, we'd be playing one of it to try that out. The card draw is pretty relevant, but as it stands, not the best. I'd like to try building an Ominous Seas deck at some point in the future. I just don't my problem with Ominous Seas is if you have it early, it's going to make you a few 8/8s, maybe 2 at most. But if you draw it late in the game, I just don't think it's going to do much. I suppose it cycles, but it's hard to have it be a build around when that's its reality. I wanted to try it in this deck, kind of in the Terramander slot, but I don't know. If any of you guys have any success with it, let me know, but I'm unsure on that front. Tail's End, I think, is actually pretty underrated right now. There are a lot of triggered and activated abilities going around. Legendary Spell is also somewhat relevant as far as Kennerith goes, but a little less so than it was back a while ago. I like that it counters Teferi, though. I wouldn't play it in this deck, but just thinking out loud about things I might try in the future. Let's see. Brazen Borrower, something I might try in the Terramander slot. I'm not sure I'd play 4, but I would definitely try out at least 2. Maybe also try out, what's it called, Bone Crusher Giant. I think I'd rather the Brazen Borrower just from the bounce for being able to hit much larger threats, and that being a little more relevant. 3/1 flyers are also a fairly decent sized body and a pretty good threat. I might actually consider running 4 Brazen Borrower in this list. If I did, I'd probably cut down a Flame Sweep as well. Like, have them replace the Terramanders, cut down a Flame Sweep, up the Mystical Dispute count, because I'd be able to play at instant speed a little bit better. And the reason I'd be cutting the Flame Sweep is it fills a similar role there. And Blitz of the Thunder Raptor is way too good to cut that. So if you want to be a little more interactive, that's something to think about, especially if you have the wild cards or the borrowers already. You know, I'm just waiting to see the Elemental deck playing Cloudkin Seer with the Orion, especially, just triggering both your Risen Reefs and being able to trigger off of your Yorion. Pretty powerful. This card's close. I think this would be very, very playable if it didn't have the pay 1 mana. And, like, playable in this deck even, but as it stands, I don't think it is. This card is weird. I think it's powerful, but only if you are playing something that is both capable of protecting it and keeping its curve low, which I think is a very strange place to be. You kind of want to be in this style of deck, but I don't think this deck would want it. Stopping at cards, I think, might have a place. I could imagine a build of this that plays Sea Dasher Octopus. I just don't think this is a list that would play Sea Dasher Octopus. For one, it pumps all of our creatures, even in their larger forms, if we mutate it on top. Terramander being a 1/1 will pump by 1, even with its counters. Sprite Dragon pump by 1, even with its counters. And Crackling Drake has 0 power, so it is worth keeping in mind that you would be buffing its power by 1. You would drastically decrease its toughness, but hey, if it's for game. I don't think this is a list that you would play the Sea Dasher in, though. Here, most likely. Definitely think this card is worth exploring. It's a very powerful control finisher. I'm gonna see if I can build around this at some point in the future. So look out for that. There will be a blue shark deck coming before too long. Commence the end game would be so much better if it drew 1 more card. As it stands, I'm not entirely sure how much I like 6 mana to only draw 2 and get a... Well, you get a fairly big threat, but Sharknado kind of does that a little better, I feel. even if this does give you card advantage. Sharknado is a lot more versatile. One day I'll have Agent of Treacheries and be a bad person, but today is not that day. Ah, the olden days of throwing 4 of those in my board because I had a very strange brew and, well, it worked. Didn't work as well as, say, anything better, but when Sultai was the top dog, you kind of had to do unfair things to beat them if you were trying to play a fair deck. And taking 2 of their gigantic Hydroid Crasises was my preferred method until I joined them. I don't think I'm going to see anything in red that interests me. Dreadhorde Arcanist. I wish we lived in the standard, like when Delver was first around, with both Preordain and Ponder. Oh, that'd be one hell of a standard Dreadhorde Arcanist with Preordain and Ponder. As it stands, I just kind of wish there was a way to break this in standard, like it has been broken in every older format. Oof. In Legacy, they call it the 2-mana Jace the Mind Sculptor for a reason. You untap with it, the game ends. Last thing, I suppose, Electrostatic Field is another potential replacement for Terramander if you're more worried about running into a lot of mono red. It's able to block a lot of their stuff, or even the lurrus decks, kind of. I think we have a fine matchup against them, but just being a 0/4, sitting there blocking, pinging every so often is pretty good. It can put out a pretty decent damage ratio if you're just sitting there and playing a few spells every turn. A little bit more than early game Terramander. I just wanted to have a mana sink, and I think Terramander is filling that role very, very nicely. Alright, so that is everything. Have a nice day, and I hope that you all remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you watched this far, thank you very much. I didn't think you would like my rambling over the deck list. Well, see you all soon.